So you would say cereal is a soup.
I'm so confused.
Now how about you know cereal is not a soup? Is that?
Again, that just doesn't feel right calling it a soup.
I know.
I think that's most of you. Okay. So most of you would say no, cereal is not a soup. Even though it's a liquidy type thing, it's in a bowl.
I'd say it's more stew. If
Got
anything.
tight chunks. Not going to go there, Mrs. Meese. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Cool. Let's pray, and we'll ask the Lord to bless our time together. And then seriously, people, Zoom. Zoom today. All right. Would any of you like to pray and ask the Lord to bless our class? Okay, I will do it. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we're very thankful for this day and for the many blessings you've given us. Thank you for our healthy minds and for good things to study. We pray that you would bless our time together. I pray that you would bless each student here, that you would help them to learn something new today. And I pray that you would help me to teach well all that we need to cover. In your name, amen. All right, so we're doing the journal. First, I got a fun one for you today. Fun one for you, and I'll come around, check your grammar. Lesson 27. You also have test 3 for me, if you'll put that out. All right, remember we started a new journal last week for October, so put this on the same page as last week. Same page. So for your journal, use all 5 sentences to describe a food you dislike. They do not need to be complete sentences. Just a phrase. All right? All 5 of your sentences. Describe a food you dislike. I'm looking for 2 things as I come around. Lesson 27 on page 161. And have test 3 out. I will collect it. Homework for me. All right. You guys go ahead and get started. Yes, it was on homework. So you're going to have to turn that in as ASAP. It'll be counted late. All right, homework looks good. 100 on that. For the test, homework looks good. 100. Almost there. Yep, well, that was good. Yep, fantastic. 100. Yes, good. 100.
Do we say what the food is, or are we supposed to just describe it and they try to guess?
Well, either way, we'll get some of you to share. You can do either way. If you want us to guess what it is, you
Are
can
we supposed to use sound for this?
be creative. Be creative. As you're chewing it, the sound it makes when you chew it. ASAP, it'll be counted late. Okay. You can just send it directly to me. You don't have to go through Schoology. Just send it directly to me. Yes, no problem. And 100 on your homework, Rose. So you found it. It's buried in the email. It's buried. Okay. About 30 seconds and finish this up. Remember, it doesn't have to be complete sentences. Phrases are fine. Okay, would someone like to share? You can tell us what it is, or you can make us guess. Either way. Hold on. Thank you, AC.
When you're chewing it, it's slippery. It smells gross. It tastes like garbage. It's slimy and it looks. Okay, this is gonna sound really stupid. I can't remember if it's green or yellow, so I just put bumpy.
Okay. Okay. I think I have a guess. Anyone have a guess?
Squash or zucchini? Yeah, it's squash. Is squash the yellow one or the green?
Yes.
Squash
Yellow.
is yellow, zucchini is green.
Yes.
Okay, I could not remember.
I was going to say okra. That's a good guess then, because okra can be slimy. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Thank you, Laura.
It tastes mushy, smells foul, it sounds squishy, it looks icky, and it feels oily.
Oily and squishy. Is it seafood?
No.
Good guess. Oily. What color is it?
It's green and yellow also.
Pickles?
No.
That's a good guess. Any other guesses?
Is it a vegetable? It's a vegetable? Yes.
Is this one okra?
No.
No. Is it squash?
Squash and zucchini baked.
It's the same thing?
Yes. But
Same
baked.
thing. Okay, that's why you knew what color it was.
Green one's the also, I ate it last night, so. I don't get a choice whether I eat it or not.
You don't. Someday you will.
My
But
brother sits across from me from the table, so whenever we have dinner and I don't like, because I'm a picky eater, he'll eat a stick of butter and say it tastes good. So whenever it's like dinner that I don't like, I'm like, Jacob, the delivery's coming under the table in like 5 minutes.
all right, we have time for one more. Share with us a description of food you dislike. Thank you, Caitlin.
It looks moldy. It tastes kind of wet and chewy, I think.
Okay.
It smells stinky. It's kind of like squeaky. Not really though when you chew it. And it feels bumpy.
Bumpy and moldy.
Mhm.
I think it's another vegetable. Is it another vegetable?
I think it's a.
Is it a potato?
Actually, I don't know. It's not a vegetable.
It's
I
not
don't
a
think so.
vegetable.
I don't think.
Some kind of cheese?
No.
No. Any guess?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Mushrooms? Is that a vegetable or?
Oh yeah. Mushrooms are vegetables. Okay, yeah.
I mean, mushrooms are mold, so.
All right.
No.
Very good. All right, so you can put that away. Here's what we're going to do today. So we're going to do vocabulary quiz 9, and then we're going to do some practice diagrams. Then we'll jump into lessons 28, 29, and 30. Take a 5-minute break, and today we're going to start the literary analysis, which is half of what this class, the name is. It's grammar, composition, and writing, and our focus is literary analysis. So we're going to start that today in just a few minutes. Okay, let's start with the vocabulary quiz. So 1 to 8. This is vocabulary quiz 9, and you'll have to letter A through H down the middle. and just like last week, the colors do not mean anything. It's just to help you distinguish between the different answers, all right? All right, so we'll get rid of that, and off you go. I will collect as soon as you're done. You have a grammar notes section here.
Like here.
Yeah, is there a writing notes?
I don't think so. I think we just put the writing notes in here.
Okay, so just those four. That's good. Okay, so we'll just do this in, what are the first two? Let's put these in writing notes. Okay, this is where we're starting when you've turned in your quiz. Mom has it. I don't email it to you guys. Okay. All right, I got everybody's? Okay. All right, so we're going to go to your writing notes section. And a sheet of notebook paper. We're going to do some diagramming practice just to make sure that you guys are tracking and doing, learning to do these diagrams correctly. All right, so that's what we want to start with. All right, so we've got this guy right here. So at the top of your paper, let's just put diagramming practice. I thought you had a grammar notes section, so just ignore that. But do put at the top as a title, diagramming practice. And please put the date. Today is October 14th, 2020. All right? So just write up at the top, just so that you know what this is. Diagramming practice, October 14th, 2020. All right, what's this sentence that we have here? Everybody. The chicken played the trumpet. All right. I want you to diagram that sentence, please. The first thing you should look for is the subject and the verb. So what are the subject and verb of this sentence?
Chicken and played.
Chicken played. So that's the first thing you look for. That's the first thing you diagram. All right, is this an action verb or a linking verb? It's action. Is there a direct object?
Yes.
Yes. Chicken played what?
Trumpet.
Trumpet. All right, so you have trumpet as your direct object. And then we've got some adjectives, some modifiers, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right, where does the first the go?
Underneath chicken.
All right, make sure it has a capital letter. Why?
This is the first.
Yeah, it's the first word in the sentence. And we have another the. Where does it go?
Underneath trumpet.
Under trumpet. Does your diagram look like this?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. All right. I want you to add another adjective to describe the chicken. Just put it right in the diagram. Add another adjective to describe the chicken. What could you have said?
Silly.
Silly?
Yellow.
Yellow?
I said featherbrain.
Feather-brained? Yes.
Musical.
Musical?
Goofy.
Goofy? Yep. Any others? Those were good. All right, now do an adjective to describe the trumpet. So you have one here. All right, do another one to describe the trumpet. All right, what do we got?
Loud.
Shiny, loud,
Noisy.
noisy, battered. Is that what you said?
Bulky.
Bulky. What was another? What did you say, Zoe? Brassy or brass. Yes. Any others? Fantastic. All right. All right. Very good. Easy enough, right? If only all the diagrams in your homework were as easy as this one, right? All right. Now, here we have got the same chicken playing the trumpet. Question. Is this a transitive or intransitive verb? How do you know? It has a direct object. Right. What if the sentence did not have the trumpet part? What if it had just said this? Is this a transitive or intransitive verb? Intransitive. Why? Okay, there's no direct object. All right, so we can have the same verb. It can be transitive if it has the direct object. The same exact verb intransitive if we take that direct object away, but we'll keep it there. We like it. You guys like it. This is a great chicken. All right, one more question. Is this active or passive voice?
Active.
Why is it active? Somebody explain this one to us. Jake. Because the subject is what?
Doing the action.
The subject is doing the action. The chicken is playing the instrument, right? All right, I want you to make this into a passive voice sentence. All right, so underneath your diagram, I want you to write the sentence that would make this passive voice. Passive voice.
With our adjectives that we added, or
Just this sentence right here. Yeah, don't worry, don't do your adjectives, although your adjectives were very creative and I like them. Let's just do this sentence right here. So we're going to turn it around and make it passive voice. So that means now we're going to flip-flop. We're going to put our subject near the end of the sentence. We're going to put our direct object in the beginning. We're going to turn it upside down. All right, let's hear somebody's passive voice sentence here. Passive voice. Laura.
the trumpet was played by the chicken.
All right, the trumpet was played by the chicken. All right, did anyone have a different one? That one? All right, the trumpet was played by the chicken. I want you to diagram that sentence. The trumpet was played by the chicken. Part of this you might not know how to diagram. Part of this you will, but part of this you might get to and you think, oh, wait, I know what that is, but I don't know how to diagram it yet. All right, what is the subject and verb of this sentence?
Trumpet.
All right, so does yours look like this? Trumpet was played. Correct? Okay. You can have the. And then what do we do with this guy right here? This is a prepositional phrase. We're going to talk about how to diagram them today. All right, but you can get this far, right? Good to go? All right, let's do one more. One more for diagramming practice. All right, the cow likes to roller skate. Diagram this sentence, please. The cow likes to roller skate. There's something in this I hope you remember. Maybe it has something to do with Toy Story. I think maybe it does. Okay, what's the subject and verb of this sentence? Always find that first. Okay, so we got this cow likes, right? We got that far? Okay, we have the capital letter, Y. Why is this capital? Beginning of the sentence. Now, what do we do with this next part? To roller skate. What is that? It's an infinitive. It's an infinitive. If you see a to like that in a sentence, it's probably an infinitive. That's always a giveaway. Okay? And it is an infinitive. We know that. How do we diagram it on here?
Straight line, and then
What is it on the diagram?
Isn't it a direct object?
It is. The cow likes what? To roller skate. So it is a direct object because it answers the question, likes what? To roller skate. And it should look like this. To roller skate, right? Does yours look like that? Does your infinitive look like this guy? All right, I've seen a lot of weird lines on homework. Okay, or something that kind of looks like this. All right, looks like this. This is it. Okay. All right, and last one, this one. Diagram this. The cow likes roller skating. The cow likes roller skating. ING there. It looks like it's a verb, but it's not the verb in this sentence. It's got to be something else. Maybe I feel like I might want to walk like an Egyptian on this one, right? You want to walk like an Egyptian. Hello, my name is Jerry. I like to walk like an Egyptian. That's a great song. All right, what's the subject and verb here?
Cow and likes.
Same. Yeah, cow likes the. Now what do we do with roller skating? It's a gerund. All right, where does it go on this diagram? What's it doing? It's the same. Yeah, it's the direct object. Likes what? It's the same. All right. But this part looks a little different. Just like that. Does yours look like this? Not meow. This is not a gerund. All right, and roller skating, just write down like this. All right. Is this what you are looking at on your paper? Okay. Very good. Very good. We'll continue to practice as we do some of these homework lessons as well. All right. In your grammar book, 3 lessons today. We've got orange and pink and orange. 28, 29, and 30. 28, 29, and 30. You're going to need all of your highlighters out. 28, 29, and 30. So 28, we're going to look at the object of a preposition. 29, we're going to learn to diagram that prepositional phrase. Lesson 30, we're going to talk about indirect objects. We're going to go back to the chicken, that trumpet playing chicken. So 28, 29, and 30, they're orange, pink, and orange in the table of contents. Orange, pink, and orange. All right, so we'll come back to this. All right, well, let's start with 28. Orange. All right, so let's talk about the object of the preposition. All right, so right up here. Object of the preposition. All right, we've got 2 new words, Cicerone and Hector. There's some history behind those 2 words. They're based off of 2 people in history, a Roman statesman, the leader of the Trojan forces in the Iliad, a character in the Iliad. All right, so your 2 words, Cicerone and Hector. Cicerone and Hector. Those are your 2 vocabulary words from this lesson. All right, the object of the preposition, here we go, with your orange, right here. The object of the preposition. So the object of the preposition is a noun or pronoun that follows the preposition. Every preposition must have an object. It must have an object. You can't leave it by itself, the preposition all by itself. All right, if it's by itself, then it is not a preposition. All right, and so here we have some examples. Now this is what I did. The preposition is in pink, so I highlighted those prepositions. Aboard, within, during, despite, over, except, via. All of those are prepositions. They're all in pink. But now we're adding an object of the preposition. So aboard the plane. All right, so this is a phrase. This is a prepositional phrase. And the noun after that preposition, plane, that is the object of it. Aboard the plane. So since plane is a noun, it's in orange. In the middle, we have this little word, the, that would describe the plane. Within the framework. Within is my preposition. Framework is my noun. The whole phrase is within the framework, in that little word, the, which would describe framework. During this season, despite the opposition, over the clouds, except Uncle Sam. Sometimes there is not that little yellow adjective in between. Sometimes it's just the preposition and the noun. Via Pony Express. According to the law. All right, remember some of those prepositions are more than one word. Be careful of those. Across from our home. In addition to Sylvester. In regard to a complaint. All right, so these are the prepositional phrases. It's got a preposition. There's a noun somewhere after it. And you might have an adjective in between. This one down here, the last one, owing to your hard work. This one has two adjectives in there. Okay. All right. That's easy enough, right? All right, so on page 165, page 165. Okay, so here's your prepositional phrase. It has a preposition, a noun, and a modifier. The preposition is in pink, the noun is orange, and your modifier, your adjectives, those are yellow. And then in these two sentences, I colored them that way. The whole prepositional phrase, I kind of outlined in pink the whole phrase. But within the phrase, you have the preposition, you have a noun, and a modifier, an adjective between them. For any citizen. That whole thing is your prepositional phrase. Before a grand jury. This whole thing is your prepositional phrase. Now, how do you know the prepositional phrase when you see it in the sentence? Look for the preposition. If you see a preposition, then you've got to have a phrase in there because you've got to have a noun that goes with that preposition. You can't have the preposition all by itself. It's got to have a noun. So start with your preposition and look the next word or two. Where's the noun? That's the end of the preposition. Do you have any words between? Those are your adjectives. All right, simple enough. All right, so let's practice. So down at page 165, I give you an example here. All right, so here's the whole phrase. And I know it's a prepositional phrase because there's a preposition right here too. So then I keep looking the next word or two. Where's the noun? Here it is, trial. That's the end of the phrase. And then the words in between are the adjectives. All right, so I want you to do B, C, and D the same way. There's one prepositional phrase in each of those. Find your preposition, that's pink. Then look to the next word or two. Look for that noun. That'll be the end of the phrase. That'll be orange. That's your noun. Are there words in between? Those would be yellow. Those are your adjectives. There's one in B, one in C, one in D. Be careful of those prepositions that are more than one word. Those can be sneaky. All right, you ready to check? I'll give you just a few seconds. Don't you love using these highlighters? Man, makes your grammar so fun and colorful, like a unicorn rainbow. Well, for a girl. The guys, you guys are like, what do I care about a unicorn rainbow? All right, let's see what you did. Letter B. Letter B. Is that what you have? In addition to a fair trial. Is that what you have? Good. All right, so 3 words in that preposition, people. Don't let it fool you. All right, C. Concerning bails, fines, and punishments. So bails, fines, and punishments are all the noun, so they're all in orange. D, on account of, there's your preposition. amendment, there's your noun. This in the middle in yellow. How did you do? Do good? All right. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. All right, one more practice here. On page 166, let's just do number 3. Let's just do number 3. Don't do number 4. And there's 3 of them in there. See if you can find all 3 of them in number 3. Just number 3. There are 3 prepositional phrases in that one sentence. Now, none of these prepositions are more than one word. All of these prepositions should have just been one word in number 3, but there are 3 in there. All right, we ready? Let's see how you did. So for number 3, it should, here they are, right here. Right there. So over the head of the tyrant to the English people. People was your noun. English is describing the people. So English is an adjective here. And did you get those 3? Excellent job. All right. All right. Let's get a head start on your homework. We'll diagram these. Let's diagram these. Number 29 and 30. Let's do both. Let's do both. Let's give you a little head start. My little fall break gift to you. No test. Let's just diagram these together. All right, the first thing you should find, number 29, find the subject, find the verb. What's the subject of number 29?
Senators.
Senators, verb. Refuse. There it is. So those are the first 2 things you diagram. Senators, refuse. Those are the first 2 things you diagram. Is this an action or a linking verb?
Action.
It's an action verb. Since it's an action verb, is there a direct object? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. What is the direct object? All right, it's the infinitive to both. Oh, all right. And then we've got 2 other words in the sentence we haven't diagrammed yet. What are they? All right, where do they go? Yeah, they describe the senators. Ooh. So we have them underneath senators. Okay, make sure 2 has a capital letter in your diagram because it's the first word in the sentence. All right, number 30. Diagramming increases understanding. What a great mouthful of a diagram this one is. All right, so always find your subject and verb first. So what's the subject? Diagramming. Ooh, it's got an ing. What does that mean? It's a gerund. Yes. All right, what's the verb? Increases. Those are the first 2 things you diagram right there. Yes, yippers. Diagramming is a gerund. That is your little Egyptian guy. You can sing the little Walk Like an Egyptian song while you're diagramming it. This is me. I would never do that. Is that what you're saying? This is me. I would never do that. All right. And increases. All right. Now we've got one more word. What is it? Understanding. Ooh. It's got an ing. What does that mean? It's another gerund. And we diagram it as the direct object because increases what? It increases understanding. It's hard to, it doesn't like for me to, it's a gerund. I can't draw it very well. It's a gerund though. It should have like this little thing. This is a terrible drawing. All right, something like that. Right? Good to go? All right, rock and roll. Let's figure out how to diagram them now. Now we know what these prepositional phrases are. Let's diagram them. Now we're going to have some real fun. That's right. What we were doing before was just semi-fun. Now this is going to be real fun. All right, pink, because we're talking about a prepositional phrase. Our prepositions are in pink. So now we're just going to diagram the whole phrase in pink. Start with a preposition, find the noun. That's the first and the last, and then the words in the middle. We're just going to diagram the whole thing pink now. All right, your two new vocabulary. We've got hung jury and filibuster. Both of these have something to do with the United States government. All right. So, a prepositional phrase. So, right here in the middle, prepositional phrases function as a single word. They might be 2 words, 3 words, they might be 5 words. But in the sentence, it's a phrase. It functions like one word. Some will modify a noun or pronoun, and so we call them adjective phrases. And we're going to diagram them like they're adjectives. They will go underneath the noun or pronoun that they describe. Okay? Simple enough? All right. Ooh, I forgot to do the chicken. We can come back. No? Yeah, we'll come back. All right. All right, so page 171, top of page 171. We're going to take this one step at a time, All right, so diagramming the prepositional phrase. Here we are, top of page 171. So the preposition is going to go on this slanted line here. That's where you would write the preposition. So the example of that underneath, the vice president took the place of the president. So there's the preposition, and it would be diagrammed like that. Okay? The example underneath. All citizens, regardless of gender, may vote. All right, so here's the preposition, regardless of. And it is on a slanted line like that. The preposition. Yes, AC.
So if there's an adjective that's describing the object, it doesn't go under the object of the preposition.
It does not. It would go underneath the noun.
What if it's in the prepositional phrase?
It would go underneath the object of the preposition right here. So if this had said, all citizens regardless of their gender, there would be here, underneath gender, because it describes gender. We're about to do some of this. Thinking ahead. All right, so this makes sense? All right, very good. All right, so the noun, we're still on the same, still on page 171. Just go back up to the top. All right, so now the noun that it is describing. So this would be the noun or pronoun that the preposition is describing. So this would be orange. It would be a noun or pronoun. And your object of the preposition would be on a straight line this way. So we kind of got this little lounge chair looking thing here. The preposition phrase is kind of like on this lounge chair. Like when you're at the beach, you got your preposition and your object. Kind of like on this beach chair. All right, and then the sentence example with the vice president here. The vice president took the place of the president. So we already have the preposition. Now we've got the object of the preposition, president. It's kind of like this little lounge chair looking thing. Of president. And here's that phrase in the sentence, of the president. So AC, here is a the, and do you see where it is? Yeah, right there under present. We have our subject in orange. We have our direct object. That's why those are in orange. All right, the example at the bottom. Here we have regardless of gender. All right, so here's my lounge chair. Here's my beach chair. There's my phrase. Regardless of gender. And it's under citizens. because it is describing the citizens right here. All right. Now, there's a few other words in there. So let's highlight our verb up here at the top in blue, took. Vice President took. Here it is in the diagram. And what's the verb in the bottom example? May vote. Yeah, there you go. Whoops. Am I good? Yeah, there you go. Yep, may vote. In blue. All right, back up to the top. There's still something else we haven't put in that diagram, and those are the adjectives. All right, so these are in yellow, and they go underneath the words that they modified. So we have one here, the, here under place, and under president. Here is that whole prepositional phrase, that whole little lounge chair here. Right here. This is what it looks like. A lounge chair with a little leg. All right, and here it is in the sentence. Of the president, and there it is in the diagram. Of the president. In the bottom, all is the only word we have in diagram that goes under citizens because that's what it describes. All right, here, regardless of gender. All right, there's the prepositional phrase, the lounge chair right there. All right. All right, at the top of page 172. Top of page 172. All right, so what? Actually, I think we can move on. I think you guys got this. You guys are so smart. All right. Let's just do this. All right, so at the top of page 172. So, women demanded. Whenever you're diagramming a sentence, the first things you find, subject, verb. Always find those first. Subject, verb. Diagram those first. Women demanded. Women demanded. Okay? In the bottom example, president nominates. Subject, verb. Always find those first. Okay? Now, if we've got an action verb, which we do, then we always check, do we have a direct object? Yes, we do. Right. It's right here. If you have an action verb, ask yourself, is there a noun after that that answers the question who or what? Demanded what? Right. And there we have orange, blue, orange. Those are the first things you do whenever you go to diagram. The bottom example, we've got our subject, our verb. It's an action verb, so we check. Is there a direct object that relates to my action verb? Yes. President nominates what? Replacement. And there is your direct object. All right. Now we've got all these other words. All right, so we've got many as an adjective. And their. Many women, their rights. Both are underneath the nouns that they describe. We also have the president, a replacement from right here. The president, a replacement. And now we get to have some prepositional phrase fun. All right, so the last thing from the state of New York. So this is 2 prepositional phrases from the state of New York. And look, we've got kind of a lounge chair on a lounge chair from state. And then the underneath of New York. They kind of just piggyback on each other there. From the state of New York. Those 2 prepositional phrases kind of piggyback on each other so we keep them together in the diagram. From the state of New York. This next example really goes piggyback crazy. Look at all this. For a vacancy, there's 1 prepositional phrase in the office of the vice president. 3 prepositional phrases piggybacked together. Here they are. For vacancy, in office of vice president. Look how they all just kind of piggyback on each other. All right? Just like that. Sometimes they like to do that. They like to stay together. They like to be separated. They like to stay together. All right. All right, let's try some on your own. Let's just do one here. Just letter A. All I want you to do is this one, letter A. Okay. And you don't have to diagram it. I want you just to highlight here. Just highlight. First thing you're going to find is what? Subject and verb. Highlight that first. Don't highlight anything else until you highlight your subject and your verb in letter A. That should be an orange and a blue. An orange and a blue. An orange and a blue. If your verb is an action verb, what do you look for? Do you have one? Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. Let's look at those first. What is the subject of that sentence? Oh, we've got a couple different answers. What is the verb? Confirms. Okay. What is confirmed? Well, from the sentence. Vote. All right, so your subject is vote. Confirms nomination. There's your direct object. So this is what you should have first. How do we know that Congress is not the subject of this sentence? Because it comes in a prepositional phrase. How do we know houses is not the subject? Because it comes in a prepositional phrase. How do we know it's not majority? Because that's describing the vote. Vote confirms nomination. All right, highlight your prepositional phrases in pink and your adjectives in yellow. Prepositional phrases in pink and your adjectives in yellow. Does yours look like this? Right here? Good to go? Okay. A majority, the president. It's a lot easier to diagram these sentences if you highlight them like this. Find your subject. Find your verb. If it's action, is there a direct object? And then once you've got those three pieces, now you can look for prepositional phrases, and now you can look for the adjectives that would describe those nouns. Yes, AC.
Is of part of how? Wait. Is both part of, or is both the adjective?
I think it's an adjective. It would be of, houses, and both would be, sometimes both would be here.
Okay.
Of, houses, both. Okay. Good to go? All right, well, let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. Lesson 30. We got to get through lesson 30. This is a big one, and then we've got to get to our writing today. All right. Indirect objects. Indirect objects. Kind of sounds like what? Doesn't it kind of sound like a direct object? Sort of. It's just got in on it, right? We got this in here. Okay. So you've got your two new vocabulary here. Ooh. Ooh. Quit unexpectedly. Reopen that bad boy. Yes, please. Oh. It keeps quitting on me. Don't quit on me. We're still gonna get this. We're still gonna do it. All right. Oh my gracious. Every time I click on that, it does that. Okay. All right. I might not be able to draw on this one. It doesn't like me to. Why don't you want me to draw? fun to draw. You let me draw. All right. In kind of looks like direct object, but it has in there. We have two homophones. What's a homophone? Anybody?
A word that sounds the same as another but means something different.
They do. Phase and phase. They sound the same, but they're two different words and they are two different spellings. So here you go for the last two vocabulary for the next time. All right, an indirect object right here. So we have learned that a transitive verb is an action verb with a direct object. You're very smart people. You already know that. The direct object receives the action. We already know that. It answers who or what. We got it. Now, an indirect object receives the action indirectly. It tells to whom or for whom the action was done. To whom or for whom. All right, let me go back to the chicken here. I'll show you an example of this. All right, they have some example sentences here, but I like these better. The chicken played us the trumpet. All right, so you know the subject of this sentence is verb.
Play.
What is the direct object? Trumpet. All right, is the chicken playing us? No. No, the chicken is not playing us. So us is the indirect object, okay? She gave me a kazoo. What is the subject? Verb. What is the direct object? Kazoo. Is she going to give me? No, I hope not. Right. So me is the indirect object. Did you play her the song? Let's turn it around, make it a sentence. How would it say as a sentence? You did play her the song. All right, subject,
You.
verb,
You.
direct object.
Song.
Yeah, you would play a song. All right, you would not play her, you would play a song. So her is the indirect object here. All right, so those are the examples. They have them here. But it tells to whom the action was done. To her. To me. All right, that is an indirect object. Okay. So right here, we're still on page 176. Right here. In order to have an indirect object, you have to have a direct object. Okay? The indirect object usually follows the verb. It usually comes before the direct object. So you're going to have your verb, and you're going to have your direct object here, and between them, usually you'll have your indirect object. Okay? You've got to have both. That's the test. You've got to have both. Now, you can have a direct object with no indirect object. That's fine. But if you have an indirect object, you've got to have a direct object. Okay? Here's the test. The indirect object can be to or for. So to me, to her, to him. Okay? All right. It may not be written in the sentence, but you can hear it in your head. Yep, to her, to him. It makes sense. All right, let's look at some examples. This will make more sense. All right, let's look at page 177. All right, so diagramming them. All right, as always, you find your subject, you find your verb. Thomas Jefferson drafted. You have your subject, you have your verb. If it's an action verb, always look for the direct object. And we have a direct object here. Drafted what? Constitution. All right, so Congress comes between the verb and the direct object. Do you see that? Is Thomas Jefferson going to draft Congress? He's not going to write Congress. He's going to write the Constitution. All right, so Congress is the indirect object. It goes under the verb, and it kind of looks like a prepositional phrase. Doesn't it look like a lounge chair? Yeah, because this is to. Okay, to. Now, you might not see that in the sentence here, you don't see a 2 there. But can't you read it like that? Thomas Jefferson drafted to Congress the first Constitution. Yeah. So if there is no 2, and most of the time there won't be, you just put an X, just like that. All right? Because it could be a 2, but it's not a 2. Doesn't that make complete sense? Yeah. Complete sense, Mrs. Meese. Yeah, there is no 2, but I'm going to put this X there. Yeah. All right. And then let's see, we've got right there. There's the indirect object. It kind of looks like a prepositional phrase, but we put this little X there instead of the 2 because there is no 2 there. So we put an X. Okay? All right, and then the rest of the sentence, we've got a couple of adjectives that we highlight in yellow, right there. And what do we do with this bad boy here, of the United States? Pink, it's a prepositional phrase. So we've got a big old lounge chair of the United States and the underneath. There we go. And that takes care of that guy. Woo, we had to blow through that one. That was super way fast. All right, so on page 177, underneath Thomas Jefferson, note this. Notice that the indirect object is attached beneath the verb. Yeah, it goes right there under the verb. Just like a prepositional phrase lounge chair looking thing, but we add that X because it is understood. It's not in there. It's understood that it's there. It's replacing the word to. Okay? You're going to have fun with that. All right, let's just do one last one together. All right, so letter B. This is it. This is it. This is it. This document gave the young nation guidelines. What's the subject? Document. Thank you. What's the verb? Gave. Is there a direct object?
Yes.
What did the document give? Guidelines. There it is. It did not give nation. It gave guidelines. All right. If you were to diagram it, it would look like that. Subject, verb, direct object. All right. The document gave to who?
The young nation.
All right. So underneath that verb, you would write nation if you were to diagram it, because this is your indirect object right there. The young, describe nation, and what goes here on this line right there? The X. Get back in there. Okay. And this. And there you go. Savvy? Good to go? Okay, very good. All right. So we are going to do some writing, but I do want to give you a break. When you come back, I'm going to have some papers out that are going to go in your writing notes section. And you got to take a quick break today, just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We're going to rock and roll with the writing. Hey, Andrew. You're welcome, Zoe. Rose.
You guys see a Cinderella.
You do. No. But we also have a football example. It's not all girly.
Okay. That's
Yeah, it's not all girly. Okay. Those go in writing notes, writing notes, writing notes, writing notes. Welcome them to the writing notes section for your in your binder. That's their new home, papers in the writing notes. All right, while you're getting those in there, a word about the essays. Terrific job on those. Those were fantastic, fantastic. Loved reading each and every one. You guys did a fantastic job on those. So most of the grading was really around this right here, those 5 sentence descriptions. We talked a lot about those, and we did some exercises on how to use those 5 sentence descriptions. And I sent you an email and asked you to highlight those in your essay so that I would know what you thought your 5 sentence descriptions were. All right, so here are just 2 examples. Both of these are the same reason. They're sports. They're sports. So the top one is well written. You can see that this person did a good job of giving examples and a little bit of a description, those 5 sentences. The bottom example goes even further with those descriptions, okay? And this is really what made the difference in your grades, all right? So both of these were good. Oh, let's close that door, Andrew. We don't want to bother them. Sometimes I can be loud. I try not to be, but this thing in my face, I'm like, okay. So both of these were good, but you can see the bottom example does a better job of really giving you those 5 sentence description. So the top one gives us crisp, cool air and soft grass, which are good. Those are good. The bottom example gives us the delicious smell of fresh popcorn and hot dogs while in the stands. Doesn't that take you to that place in your mind? I mean, you can picture yourself there, smelling popcorn. The sight of large groups of enthusiastic face-painted fans gathering together and watching their favorite football team. Okay, there's more of a description. That gives you more details. You can feel that. You can see yourself there. The fans, coaches, and players cheering and yelling at the top of their lungs until they can't talk anymore. All right, so this is really just a snapshot of how mostly what I was looking for in those essays was these details, okay? And the differences that you guys wrote, that's kind of reflected in your grade. You might say, Miss Misa, why did I not make as big a grade? It looks like I did okay. It might be because of this, okay? It might be, yes, you did okay, but was there more detail that you could have included to really put me in that moment? Probably. All right, and if you didn't highlight, then I took off for that as well, because that was the direction that I did ask you to do. Okay? If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'm certainly glad to talk with you about it. All right? Let's talk about literary analysis. I got a video for you. This top sheet right here, we're going to go through this as we go through the video. All right, so have a pencil handy. We're going to talk about what is literary analysis first. And then we're going to talk about your first literary analysis assignment. It's wonderful. You'll love it. You won't love it. It'll be work. It'll just be 1 paragraph, though.
That's better.
That's nice, right? Okay. This video is in our folder for week 10. Week 10! Can you believe it? We are halfway through this semester. All right, here we go. You got a pencil handy? Here we go. Just watch that white circle. Let it hypnotize you. Grammar is fun. 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 Don't you hear it in your head? Every time you
And now.
Let's just skip that.
Hack Tutoring presents How to Analyze Literature. Literary analysis can be intimidating to a lot of students, and it does take some critical thinking. However, it doesn't have to be a mystery. First, let's define literary analysis. Analysis in general means that you are examining something critically by looking at its separate.
And there you go. So literary analysis, you're examining something critically by looking at its separate parts. All right, so there is your answer to number 1. Analysis, literary analysis. We're going to examine something critically by looking at its separate parts. And since we're talking literary analysis, we're examining literature, stories. So that is the something that we are examining. In literary analysis, we are examining stories critically by looking at its separate parts. Oh yes, the circle is back. Grammar is fun. Grammar is fun. Grammar is fun. She doesn't look convinced, though. But you guys know better. Grammar is fun. Grammar is fun.
Parts. So, if you're analyzing a football team's chance of winning a game, you wouldn't just consider their record. You'd also consider the strengths and weaknesses of the players, the skills of the coaches, possibly the weather conditions or the type of turf, even their motivation, like with rivalries or home field
advantage. All right, so for example, if you want to look at a football team chance of winning, all right, the different pieces that you can look at and analyze are the weather, the motivation, the turf, the coach, their record, the players. Those are the different pieces that you can look at for the football team's chance of winning. All right, and we have that right there. The different parts, the different pieces, the different parts. Okay? This is going to relate.
advantage. All of these come together to show a bigger meaning. That's exactly what literary analysis is doing, only instead of a sports team, you're analyzing a literary text, like a short story, novel, poem, or movie. Let's work on an example. If we choose to analyze the movie Cinderella, our first step would be to consider what is a bigger meaning of the story. This is called the theme.
Okay, and so number 3, what is theme? It is a recurring idea or insight into the text. It's a recurring idea or insight into the text. Very often that could be the main idea, the purpose of the story, the message, the lesson. All of those are theme. Message, lesson, the purpose, the main idea, a recurring idea. It shows up over and over and over again. It's not just one time. Okay? Oh, it's back. Grammar is fun. 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 Grammar is fun.
Theme is a recurring idea or insight found in the text, so it's a hidden meaning within the story. To come up with a theme for a story, it might help to consider a broad topic, like love, friendship, or good versus evil, and then describe what the story is saying about that topic. In our example of Cinderella, one of the main topics is dreams. So now we have to decide what the story is saying about dreams. One answer could be that it's saying dreams can come true if you don't give up.
All right, I don't believe that. All right, I disagree with this totally.
What if you dream you can fly without use of airplanes or jetpacks or anything?
It will not go well for you in the end.
Yeah, you jump off a cliff and you'll find
So
out.
I don't agree with this, but it's a good example. All right, it's total fiction, people. Total fiction. Just want to say.
So, that's our theme. Now that we've chosen it, let's begin our analysis. Remember, analyzing means critically examining a text by looking at its separate parts, not a summary.
All right, number 4, literary analysis is not a summary. You're not just going to tell me a summary of what happens in the story. That is not literary analysis.
So, if players, coaches, and weather conditions are some of the separate parts of a team's chance of winning, what would be the separate parts of a story? The answer to that is literary elements, which are the parts of stories.
All right, so number 5, the different parts of stories are called literary elements. Yes.
Some of the most common literary elements are character, symbolism, plot, setting, imagery, and tone or mood. If you're not sure what those are,
Okay, so around the puzzle of Cinderella here, do you see how it's got little puzzle pieces? I want you to put these, just like you did for the football example, I want you to put those above those puzzle pieces or below the puzzle pieces. Because the literary elements in Cinderella could be these that you see here, they could be more of these. So you could have imagery, character, symbolism, setting, plot, tone, and mood. All of those elements work together to tell us the theme of the story. The purpose, the main idea. Why is this story written? What is the lesson I'm supposed to learn? Okay. All of these literary elements work together, kind of like a puzzle. So here we've got our picture of Cinderella. Her dream is coming true. I'm so sorry to have to say that. It's so cheesy. All right. That's a good example. So here it is. Her dream is coming true. So the elements that we can look at the characters in the story that show us that. The symbolism, we can look at the tone, the plot, the setting, imagery. Turn to the next page after this, and what do you see? Woo! A whole bunch of literary elements. A whole bunch of them. These are all you're going to need to know this year. All right? Any kind of literary analysis that we do, if you're not sure what kind of literary elements you have to choose from, look at this guy right here. All right? You'll find all the examples of literary elements you'll need for the stories, for your writing, right here. Okay? All of these are puzzle pieces that fit together and form the picture of the theme, the lesson, the purpose, the moral, the main idea. All of these pieces together. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? Let's do an example together. This is actually all we need of this one. That's all we need of this story. Thankfully, the Cinderella. Woo! Yeah, I love Cinderella. That was my favorite story, actually. My favorite Disney princess was Cinderella. But the whole dreams can come true. I mean, if it's the Lord's will for you, then there is nothing that can stop you from doing that except for you.
That's why my parents never asked my princess.
Yeah, if it's the Lord's will for you. If it is not the Lord's will for you, then guess what? You won't be successful in doing it. It's just how it is. You cannot have it all. You cannot do it all. But you can do everything that the Lord has purposed for your life to do. That's just my soapbox. All right, here we go. So let's look at the 3 pigs, and here's what we want to do. Turn to the 3rd page you have here. So we're going to do an example together, and then the very same exact sheet you're going to do for homework at home. All right, so we're going to do the 3 little pigs together. We're going to analyze that story using literary elements. All right, and then we're not going to write a summary of the 3 little pigs. We know what happens in the story of the 3 little pigs. We already know. I don't want you to summarize. I want you to analyze using literary elements. So let's do that together. So here we have the 3 pigs, And you've seen this guy before. What is this? This little mountain-looking thing. All right, it's a plot diagram, right? All right, so we have the inciting moment, which is what they call conflict, and that gets your story started. And then near the end of the story, you have your climax, where your problem is all solved, and your following action to the denouement, which is the resolution. All right, we've seen that before. All right, so in the Three Little Pigs, you got to think, what is my theme? What is the theme, the lesson, the purpose of the Three Little Pigs? What is the story trying to teach? And because of this, it's got pigs and wolves, and it's kind of a little kid's story, right? I mean, it's not for 8th and 9th graders. This may be shocking. It's not. It's really for little kids, right? So what is that story trying to teach little kids? All right, that's the first thing you want to decide. What did you have a thought, Laura?
Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Sure. Right? Make wise choices. Don't build your house out of straw. So let's say that, Laura, let's say that that's what it is. So for number 1 here, you're gonna get to choose your own story. But together, for our example, we're gonna do the Three Little Pigs. So write Three Little Pigs. Write Three Little Pigs. That's the one we're gonna do together. All right, and then the theme. So you think, what is the main idea? What is the lesson? What is the recurring topic? And Laura, I think we should go with that. Make wise choices. So let's make that our thing. Make wise choices. Make wise choices. All right, the next thing you have to think about is you've got to think, what are the literary elements that help explain that thing? And then you've got your sheet. It looks like this. If you should ever lose this guy, you got to print him out and put him in your binder. We're going to be using this all year. All right, so you look at these different puzzle pieces. Which of these puzzle pieces would fit into the Three Little Pigs?
Repetition.
Repetition, for sure, right? So write repetition for number 3. That's 1. There's a lot of repetition in that story. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. The wolf says that like 50 times, right? Little pig, let me come in. Not by the hair on my... You know the story. There's a lot of repetition. Okay. What would be another literary element that we see in that story? Personification. Yes, Jacob, tell us what that means.
It's when you make an animal do human things like talk.
Yes, very good. All right, so for number 3, we've got 2 literary elements there. We've got repetition and we've got personification. Very good. Now, all you need is to give me 2. For number 4, now you need to choose one of those to write the paragraph about. Not both. Only one of those literary elements. And I want us to choose to do personification. All right, so for number 4, the literary element I choose for our example is personification with the Three Little Pigs. Okay, personification. Jacob told us the definition. It's when you give animals human-like qualities. What are some of the examples? Because we need to give 2. 2 examples of that from the story. AC, give us one.
The pigs can walk.
What else can the pigs do, AC?
Walk.
They walk. What else?
Build stuff.
They do. You're very, very gifted pigs. Okay, they build stuff. Did you ever watch this cartoon or see this in a book? What do you notice about them?
They're wearing clothes.
Or they're wearing clothes, right? Wear clothes. All right. All of that is terrific personification. What about another example? Can anyone think of another example of personification in that story?
They like live in houses.
Okay, they live in houses. Right. Very good. Very good. Now you're ready. Oh, AC.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the wolf can do all those things too.
Very good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Wolf, who is also a key character here. Wolf, gifted too. Yes, he's also talented in all the ways the pigs are, right? Okay, very good. All right, now you're ready for number 5. Now you're ready to put this into a paragraph. Okay? The first sentence is a topic sentence. Do you have your writing books with you, page 51? Yes, this guy. If you have that, look at page 51. Here, Rose, come slide over next to Zoe so that you can bring your stuff with you, honey. Page 51, page 51. Your topic sentence is going to come straight from page 51. So you can say, the author uses personification. Well, yeah, we can write it down. Just right here underneath. So the first sentence is straight from page 51 there. Do you want to drag your chair over? Yeah, so you're sitting. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine, honey. It's okay. The author, and then choose one of those verbs. There's plenty there in that column to choose from. Uses. What is the literary element technique that we've chosen for this? Yeah, the author uses personification. Well, you want to, so for number 5, what's the word they have here for number 5? I mean at the top. It says number 5. Effect. I want you to write.
You meant like the title. I was like,
I want you to write the word theme. For number 5, write theme. The author uses personification to show that you should make wise choices. Isn't that what we said the theme was?
Yeah.
Making wise choices. The writer. Yes, I still like uses. Applies personification to show the theme that you should make wise choices. All right? And then according to your boxes, you give the first example. One way the writer does this is, well, we're going to just do personification. Just do the one. So one way the writer does this is he has the pigs walk, talk, build stuff, and wear clothes. Jacob.
Since it's for little kids, like to help them imagine them in maybe a scenario.
Yes, very good. So that would be, so after you tell the example, you explain and discuss how that shows the theme. How does this show the theme of making wise choices? Because it helps the kids picture themselves in the story. Sure. Yeah. All right. Example 2. What's another example of personification that shows making wise choices? Maybe the wolf?
Wolf is talented in being a person too.
Okay, so, and is an enemy to the pig.
Yeah.
Is the wolf an enemy to pigs in real life?
Yeah.
Would kids think of wolves as enemies?
Yeah, I guess.
Probably. Okay. So your second example could be another example that personification shows making wise choices is the wolf. who is an enemy and wants to eat the pigs. How does this show making wise choices? Maybe kids would be afraid of the big bad wolf too. Maybe that would help them
Not build their house out of straw.
learn to make wise choices to avoid bad. All right. Turn to page 53. I'm sorry we're going long. Last thing, page 53. I want you to put a star at the very bottom. CS. What does it stand for? CS. Down at the very bottom of page 53. What is a CS? Clincher.
Wrap up revisit of the topic sentence.
All right. It kind of restates your topic sentence in a different way. It's a clincher. All right, and that's what this has at the bottom right here. Last sentence is a clincher sentence. It restates your topic in a different way. All right, right there. Okay? All right. Go ahead and start packing up, but just listen out for me. I'm so sorry we're like 4 minutes late. So sorry. If you have any questions about this, let me know. You're going to write a paragraph according to these guidelines down here. So it's not due next week because it's fall break. But on Monday, when is this due? October 26th. Monday, October 26th. You've got to send me 2 things. This page, a story you choose, any story you want, and your paragraph. You could write it here, that would be fine, or you can type it. I don't think I said, yeah, so you could write it if you wanted to. All right, if you have any questions about that, let me know.
So that page is on the homework.
Yes, it is. And use this to help you with what those literary elements are so you know what to write about. All right, great job today.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. Let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Reese.
Happy fall break. Don't come next week. Take a break.
That would be funny. You come in.
Nobody would be here. No.
You're sitting by your lonely self.
You would be sitting by your lonely self. Bye. Bye, Rose. Rose and Laura, don't forget your test.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.